organizer. Okay, same thing for the evidence. So we're going to introduce your evidence. That's your intro. You just choose one of these, or you can make your own. And then you're going to copy down your quote. So this also is coming from your evidence organizer. You've already done it. Again, look for feedback, corrections, notes that I've given you to make sure that you make the changes correctly. Okay. Justification sentence is indeed where this is going to get a little tricky. So we need at least 2 sentences. All right. So for justification, just a reminder, do not summarize the evidence. So remember that it is not a summary of the evidence. Remember that this is where we get the chance to explain our thinking. So why you think this kid did it, why you think this is the right evidence. So why did you choose, and then whoever you chose. So why did you choose James? Or why did you choose Trevor? And then remember, we always want to go back to relating to the claim. So how does this connect with who we thought broke the vase? All right. You can start with, which I find this to be helpful for me. Start with this quote shows, or this evidence proves. So what we can do is we can start off and say, okay, so let's go back. Let's go with the mentor text of Trevor is responsible, and her premise was that he has a poor track record in caring for his belongings. Her evidence, he always seemed to be getting himself in trouble. None of his new toys stayed new for long, and they always ended up broken within hours of being open. Okay, so she's then saying that this evidence shows that he has a lack of respect for his belongings, and they all seem to be broken within hours of receiving them, which is what's in the evidence, and it is what is in the sentence up here. Okay, most of our premises were not that complex, and most of them were things like, he's to blame because he was holding the bat. He was guilty because he had a smirk on his face. Trevor was guilty because he always gets in trouble. So if we're just going to pretend that Trevor did it, because most of you don't think Trevor did, and I'm going to go with this evidence shows, and let me come back over here. Okay, so let's pick where Trevor always seemed to be getting himself into trouble. And I'm going to say that that is what I used for my evidence, that Trevor always seemed to be getting himself into trouble. And so my premise is that Trevor is to blame because he's always in trouble. So this evidence shows that Trevor is often making bad choices. Okay. So if you chose James and you chose something about the bat, um, you could do something about like this evidence shows that James was holding the bat that was obviously used to break the vase. Or if you chose the smirk, you know what that smirk means. You guys have been there. So you could say, this evidence proves that James had more responsibility for this than he wanted to admit. We could say that this evidence shows us that he is guilty because he is smirking at his brother, knowing that the brother just got, or that Trevor just got in trouble when James obviously was the one responsible. Okay, so I'm going to go and continue with my Trevor. So this evidence shows that Trevor is often making bad choices. Okay, then we need our second sentence, making sure we connect back to the claim. I would continue with this and I would just go with Trevor. Let's say Trevor's bad choices. End with broken toys often. So it would make sense that he was, and we want to attach it back to the claim, responsible for breaking the vase. Okay, so what I'm going to encourage you to do is for the first sentence. So your justification, your sentence number one. Let me change that real quick. Okay, so for justification, sentence number one, I want you to start with this evidence shows. I want you then to explain what it shows. What, by telling me a sentence from the text, you chose it because it said something to you that made you think that kid did it. This is where you're going to tell me, what were you thinking? So this evidence shows that James was doing this, or James felt this, or Trevor is always making bad choices, or I know a lot of you had this one that I can't believe Trevor did that to you. I'm going to start saving my allowance. So maybe you chose that because it was, you felt like that was his making up for it. He was feeling guilty. So you could say this evidence shows that James was trying to blame Trevor, but he maybe felt guilty and was going to offer to replace it for his mom. Okay. So again, this is, I want you to just tell me your thinking here. Why you picked this quote. For justification sentence number two. Ooh. For justification sentence number 2, I want you to use part of your thinking from here. Don't copy it word for word. Just remember how we did the summer is the best and we picked like those keywords out and then we kind of merged them together to a sentence? I want you to do that again with this. So you're going to come through this one and kind of find those keywords and tie them back with the claim of being responsible for breaking the vase. And at this one, you could say his mom's or just the vase. On this one, it's not so important that you copy it word for word like it was before. So on this one, it is okay to just say the vase. So you're going to come back to what you were thinking and how it connected to the prompt of this makes so and so responsible. I know that this is not easy to do. I spent quite a bit of time last night trying to come up with the best way to explain this to you guys and help you. And so now being at home, I feel a little more challenged with helping you. But I think you will be okay. If you get stuck, go back to what was it called? The justification activity number 2. That was the summer's the best season one that we did together. Go back, look at how we put those together, or find when we did that. It might have been December 2nd. Go back in the videos and or in the team meetings, go back and watch the video from the 2nd, go through that lesson. And then again, just going and putting your thoughts on paper without writing, I think. So don't write that. Just think it, but just write it as a fact. So you can go back to that. I want you to just give it a try. So even if you're stuck and you think that you don't know how to do it, you do. You do know how to write a sentence. You do know how to tell me what you're thinking. I know that it's hard to put it into words, but I know that you can do it. So just think about why you chose that. Explain to me why you picked it, and then why that makes that kid responsible. So why you picked it, why that kid is responsible for it. Once you have that all done, you can go ahead and open the body paragraph assignment. All you're going to do there is take everything from here and type it in a paragraph format under your intro paragraph that we wrote in like October. So you're just going to open that old intro paragraph. We opened it the other day for something. It should be in your OneDrive. And then you're just going to add this to it and submit your work into that assignment. There's instructions on there. There's a video on there. I'm not worried about that part. So I'm mostly worried about the justification. Just remember, I want you to focus on your thinking and why that makes him responsible. Good luck. If you have questions, please put them in the questions tab on your team so that all of your classmates can see the same question and we can all be kind of helping each other out. Good luck, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.